We're here at Computex 2026 and Acer sponsored this video to check out their new laptops, which of course means I am immediately taking apart a bunch of engineering samples. Now we're gonna film most of this in their booth later, but I need to look at the Atlas 8 handheld first. This thing's pretty sweet. It has Panther Lake inside. We're playing Forza Horizon 6 on high and it's running really quite well, but we have very explicitly been told that we cannot turn it off. And we do have permission to take it apart, but maybe they won't be so happy operating on a live patient. Appears we have 8 Torx T6s to remove. Let's get this guy opened up. Okay, here we go. I guess we have to be careful about that ribbon cable because I don't want to screw up the RGB on the back. In here we can see we have 2 heat pipes and 2 fans, with the Predator Aeroblade fan on the left being the first metal fan in a handheld. And that's going to be cooling the new Intel Arc G3 Extreme processor. Now, this is a Panther Lake chip, but it is slightly pared down compared to its X7 and X9 cousins. You only get 2 performance cores opposed to the 4 that you get in the more full-fat laptop CPUs, but that actually works really, really well in a handheld because most of the gaming is going to be done on the 8 efficiency cores that are in here. This is excellent because even if you have excellent cooling inside of your device, you don't want the TDP to be high, otherwise it will absolutely destroy your battery life. So if you have only 25 watts, say, dedicating most of that towards the GPU side of the chip instead of the CPU cores is going to net you more FPS and more battery life. But if that isn't enough FPS, you can always turn on XeSS 3 super resolution and frame generation to help it out, including ray tracing profiles for handhelds. In here we can see that we have support for a full-size SSD, although sadly that is where the upgradability ends. Not that I expect to have like SODIMM memory in a handheld. On the back here we can see our trigger limit switch, so you flick that forward and then it becomes more of a digital instead of an analog trigger, and it accomplishes that by moving this little bit inside to prevent it from moving too far, and at the same time it flicks this tiny little switch on the PCB. Now, how are the ergonomics of the Predator Atlas 8 handheld? I've had ones that have better grips before, and normally you don't hit your hands on the fans. We can also see the up to 80 watt-hour battery down here, and I guess we should probably put it back together and actually try gaming on it now. Nice. We didn't break it. With the back of the case back on, the grips fortunately are a lot more comfortable, although how is it for drifting? Everyone died. Turns out I'm trash. Let's get a professional.
It's pretty good, although real life, maybe a little bit more louder and aggressive.
Makes sense. By the way, Sam also has a tech channel now. Check it out down below. The display also looks good. It's 8 inches, 1200p, 120 Hz with variable refresh rate, and a peak brightness of 500 nits. So even if I'm over here beside the window, yeah, I can see it just fine. Excellent. And now let's head to the show floor for the other ones. Maybe you're seeing that handheld though and thinking, I'm not too concerned about things like weight or power consumption or thickness. Well, the Predator Helios 18 AI is the thing for you. This thing right here is absolutely massive and has so many FPS that your NAN is scared of it. For performance, we have up to an RTX 5090 mobile and an Intel Core Ultra 9 290HX. With their powers combined, those can suck back 270 watts of power. But how the heck do they keep that cool? Well, let's find out. It looks like to get inside, it is 10 Torx T5s. In here, we can see there's 6 heat pipes, but these are not just any heat pipes. These are their vector heat pipes, which means they have a square profile. That square profile means more surface area of the heat pipe contacts the CPU and the GPU and results in 9% better cooling. To make sure that heat can leave the heat pipes, we have their 6th gen Aeroblade fans. These things have 100 metal fins, which apparently can get you 20% more airflow at 40 dB. Also, on the very end, we have what they call their bionic wingtip, which can help it bring in even more air. If you're like me and enjoy having the same number of Chrome tabs open as there are atoms on this planet, well, maybe this is going to be a good laptop for you because this thing can be outfitted with up to 256 gigabytes of RAM. And when you see the price of 256 gigabytes of RAM, you're gonna say, wow, I'm really glad that's upgradable. I hope RAM prices go down. Andy, do you think that we could take like the bottom sticks right here, it would still boot up. I don't think they'd notice. Like, yeah, okay. In here, we also have 3 SSDs that allow you to have up to 6 terabytes of super fast storage. And then down below that, we have a 99 watt hour battery that is literally the biggest that you can get on a plane. Not that that's gonna matter given how much power this thing probably consumes. Of course, a whole bunch of performance is no good if the display is trash, but here we don't just have one good display, but 2 of them, because this guy right here can do either 4K 120 hertz or full HD 240 hertz, and it looks pretty friggin' good while doing that. This right here is a mini LED display that can do 1000 nits peak brightness, and it covers 100% of DCI-P3 with color calibration from Calman, so it looks sick. Acer is also very proud of their 6 speakers that have a patented box technology that has a tube structure that apparently gains 10 dB over the previous gen. And I think it sounds good. We looked at it and it's like 80, 85 dB in here ambient. So the fact we can hear it all is pretty good. Up next, we have the Acer Aspire X16 AI, and this right here is an excellent example of what you can pull off with Intel's new Panther Lake chips. This right here in the past, if you wanted, to be able to game or do video editing or stuff like that, would have had to be considerably heavier and thicker, but because we can just simply have an iGPU that kicks ass, well, this right here doesn't have to choose between the two. I do really love that Acer has given us substantial I/O in this. So like SD card, headphone microphone combo jack, full-size USB-A. We have frickin' Ethernet right here, and it is 2.5G on the other side. Dual Thunderbolts, another USB Type A, and HDMI 2.1 to round it all out. To get inside, it is 8 T5 Torxes. To power the X16, we have Intel's Panther Lake Core Ultra X9 388H. So that's 16 cores for performance, 8 efficiency, and 4 low power efficiency with up to 5.1 gigahertz boost. That processor also gets us 12 Xe cores, which means that we have performance that's similar to that of an RTX 4050, and you gain access to things like Intel's Xeon S3, which in my experience is pretty darn good, although depends game to game. Now, this cooler design right here is able to dissipate 45 watts, which is not as much we have seen in some other Panther Lake devices, but what makes this cool is that it's able to dissipate those 45 watts while only being 45 dB loud. To accomplish that, they have 2 heat pipes, 2 fans, and what they call their vortex flow cooling. Of course, the RAM is all soldered down, but we do have a Wi-Fi 6E card that can be replaced and 2 SSD slots for plenty of storage if you so choose. Down here we also have an 84 watt hour battery, and Acer claims that that can get us 24 hours of video playback because Panther Lake is good at battery. Now that it's back together and on, we can have a look at this display, which is rather fantastic. It's a 3K OLED panel, it does 120 hertz, and it also covers 100% of DCI-P3, so those 500 nits that are making it to your eyes are going to be looking correct. If you don't need a bunch of power though, and just want a simple budget device that can get you what you need to do, well, we have this right here, the Acer Swift Air 14. It has an all aluminum body, quite a nice glass top trackpad right here, and comes in many nice colors. It's quite thin and light at 12.9 millimeters thick and 2.6 pounds, but it could be lighter if we took it apart. To get inside requires just removing 4 Torx T5s. The first thing that jumps out to me in here is the 70 watt hour battery. It is absolutely massive given the size and weight of this device, and apparently it can get you 19 hours away from the wall. You can also see that the SSD is upgradable, which we love because of course this is a more budget device, so you probably don't want to buy a bunch of storage up front, although sadly the RAM is soldered down. The starting config gets an Intel Core 5 320, which is cooled with 2 heat pipes, 2 fans, and is able to dissipate a total of 20 watts out of the back. For the display, we get a 1920 by 1200p resolution, 100% coverage of sRGB, and also a 350 nit peak brightness, as well as a little cover for the webcam. I appreciate that. For I/O, we get two Thunderbolt 4s, Type A, and a headphone jack, which I absolutely love to see, just like I absolutely love to thank Acer for sponsoring this video. So huge thanks for watching, hit like, get subscribed, and of course, have a great old day. We'll see you at the next booth.